Hallelujah. So our reading will be taken from Leviticus chapter 16, verses 10 through 15.
Slightly, we are so honored to have with us Rabbi Kohen Netanya, and he is taking time in his busy schedule in the tri-state area to be with us, and he's going to be with his home congregation in Mount Vernon as well today. So we're going to allow him to be able to fellowship with them on this Yom Kippur as well. And before he goes, we would like him to have a few words here at Beth Elohim. He's joined his spirit with us. By way of introduction, for those of you who have not heard this dynamic speaker before, and this great leader of Israel, he is, among other things, the leader of an Israelite community in Ghana, and I was delighted to be his guest this past summer when I was there. And I had a wonderful time, as you have heard many, many times, and seen the pictures and videos, but they don't come close to tell you what a beautiful place and spirit and community that he is building for all of us there. We prayed on the Atlantic Ocean at his beautiful home and resort there, and with Sister Yadid and others, and we just invoked the Spirit of the Most High. We blew the shofar at the castles, the slave castles there in Ghana. We took the coins that we are putting in today in the Tashik and the Kippur, and I brought one of those coins with me to Africa to throw it in the ocean. And he gave us the prayer of return, and so that was my most recent experience. But he is a student and graduate of Rabbi Nahonatan, and we are classmates, graduating about the same time, and he has been serving the Israelite community both here in the United States and around the world for so many years. We're happy that he is back with us. He does come back periodically, and when he does come back, he tries to stop in and see us. I think the last time at B'nai Adam for Rabbi Matthew's Day, and then also with Man Horeb, the chief rabbi was here. The chief rabbi tells me he's coming to Ghana in November. Did he let you know?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I tell everybody when they go to Ghana, you got to check in according to Tanya. And hopefully we'll all be going very soon, if not next spring, very soon to be coming back. So without any further ado, let's give a warm Beth Elohim welcome to our friend, our leader, our brother, Rabbi Kohen Netanya.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
First and foremost, giving all honor, praise, and glory to the Most High Creator of the universe. the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Yaakov, and to all of our great ancestors and those who have gone before us, the mighty men and women who have helped lay the ground to bring back the house of Israel in this day. We give thanks and praise to them in this season of remembrance. We remember all of those who have gone before us. And to Rabbi Shlomo, to the rabbis of the house here, to the elders, to the imams, to all of the house of Israel, I greet you in the spirit of Tov Yom Kippur, and pray that the Most High God will be merciful upon all of us in this season to inscribe our names in the book of life. I also ask for your pardon that this service has allowed me to be able to have these words before asking permission to proceed on to the other congregation that I promised also I would share this day with. I did not want to come in this season to the U.S. and be here in New York and not pay my courtesy call and pay my respect here with you, Rabbi Shlomo. You crossed the Atlantic Ocean and went on that journey to Ghana, Mother Ghana, and it made its way all the way over to Elmina and Cape Coast where I dwell, and we spent that sacred time together. We went down to the dungeons at the Cape Coast fort. You know, there's a mission going on right now that many of us who are there are trying to get the name change or the reference change there because they're referred to as the Cape Coast Castle and the Elmina Castle. But what has made them a historical landmark by UNESCO is not because they were the dwelling place of kings and queens or princes and princesses, and not because of the size of their edifice there, but because of the role they played in the infamous slave trade and having housed our ancestors there before being traveled across that Atlantic. And we want to remind people as they refer to the Cape Coast or the Elmina castles, they are forts and dungeons because they were military garrisons that occupied there, not royalty. So when they say castle, that's the beginning of distorting the narrative of what took place at those historical monuments. So Rabbi and I had an opportunity to go there in our full regalia, and as he said, to blow the shofar there and lift up prayers there in honor of our ancestors, to know that this is our time of redemption, and as it was spoken when they left there over 500 years ago, although this year we're celebrating or commemorating, not celebrating, but commemorating the 400-year anniversary of the first of our African ancestors that were enslaved that landed here at Point Comfort near Jamestown, Virginia, that this year is being commemorated as 400 years. But we know it's much longer than 400 years that we were being extracted from that west coast of Africa and brought here to the so-called New World. But in light of that, and the fact that that 400 years is being commemorated, we also were able to proclaim with the sounding of that shofar, as we did on Yom Teruah, Rosh Hashanah, that this is the year of return. Yes. I shared with Rabbi that was, hallelujah, that we are embedded in the foundation of what the nation, the Republic of Ghana, has called for those of us in the diaspora to return. The Most High had it, Hashem had it, that they did not even know the full gravity of the spirit that put that call out. We were sitting in a meeting at the Ministry of Tourism over a year ago, and we brought it to their attention that this year, 2019, that the U.S. Congress, Congressional Black Caucus, had come up with a bill H.R. 1242, and they got the Congress to proclaim that this year would be a year of commemoration for the 400 years. And they were thinking about, well, what can happen? What can happen in Africa that can let our brothers and sisters know that we're in solidarity and we remember that the loss of our human cargo from this continent and the devastating blow that it had to the development of the continent by millions of us being taken away from there. And the Spirit had me to introduce to them the term, the year of return, which they had adopted. And I did that because over 30 years ago, right here from New York, when we were congregating together in our various congregations and our various momentum, you know, we thought of when the Spirit had me decide that I wanted to accept the inspiration to go to West Africa to begin to build the bridge and a link there. That was under the auspices of the Hashuva mission. And as we know, Hashuva, the return, or returning back to the original source. returning back to the Most High, returning back to the Torah, returning back to our original self. So they didn't know when I suggested the return that I was suggesting a Hebrew terminology to evoke a spiritual essence into all these things. So they were thinking of how can they come up with a tourism gimmick, how they can come up with a tourism marketing piece to brand. But I knew that I was putting the Spirit in their mouth so that we can begin to invoke the journey of the children of the Most High to return back in mind, body, and spirit. And now it is taken off to dimensions beyond their expectation because they don't know what time it is. And that's why it was beyond their expectations, because they don't know what to expect. It says because without a vision the people perish. And until we link this whole experience back up to the prophecy of the Most High and who it is that we are as a people, you can invoke the spirit of 400. Because it was our Abba Abraham that the Most High was speaking to. That he said, your seed shall be taken into a strange land and serve a strange people for 400 years. But after that, I will take them from that place. And I will also endow them with riches. That's the part everyone leave off. That's the part we want to claim. That's the part we want to claim. So in this season, where we have the attention of the Most High, we want him to know that we are grateful for the word and the prophecy that he has given to us as a people. And it says that those things that the Most High has kept, he's revealed to his people. And we are those people that have that secret. We're the people that have that covenant. And the keeping of that covenant, we are a great reward to the rest of our people. So we want to, in these seasons, let the Most High know that we were scattered because we forgot these seasons. We forgot the Torah. We forgot the law. And the Most High promised that if we return unto him, he returned unto us. And so that's why it's important that we lift up our voice in these seasons. We do what the word told us to do. And I'm happy that in New York, I have been here with you, that we have had a reading of the Torah. I've had a chance for my spirit to commune with you here today, and that fulfills me. That makes me know that I'm empowered to go back because we kept the word, and I can go back and finish this mission along with the portion that the Most High has me to do, along with the portion of what the Most High has the rest of us to do. So in that respect, I think that we have had an opportunity for people who never dreamed of coming back and touching base with Mother Africa to do so this year of the year of return. We've had all kind of people of notoriety. We have people that people don't know, from the least to the greatest of people, choosing this year to come there. And each time they come there, I've had an opportunity to share with most of them our vision of who we are as a people, as Hebrew people. And that has been a great, great experience for myself and a great opportunity to let me know this is why the Most High has me there. This is why the Most High has paved that way. Because it's nothing new. It's still part of the legacy. Because it has been the Hebrew community that has been the most consistent with traveling and bringing congregations and making the connection with Mother Africa. We all know the legacy of Rabbi Ford bringing his whole congregation from New York and having established themselves in Ethiopia. We know the communication is always going back and forth between our community and various other leaders of the Hebrew community, has been the most consistent of any other people, whether they be a non-religious organization, a secular organization, or whatever. Nobody has been consistent for as long a time as the Hebrew community has been. And so much of our language, the other communities have adopted. Be they Christian, be they Muslim, it is the Hebrew doctrine that you adopt when you talk about being in a strange land. It is the Hebrew doctrine that you adopt when you talk about Pharaoh, let us go down Moses, wading in the water. That's all Hebrew vernacular that the people use. That's all Hebrew spirit that the people invoke to keep our spirit moving as a people, troubling the waters. So we know that although all of our people may not identify by name of being Hebrew Israelites, because that also fulfills the prophecy that we be called by every byword and every proverb that is known under the sun when we disobey the prophecy of the Most High. We know that's our signature. That's not necessarily saying that, how are you saying that the people that came off the boats from the shores of West Africa are now Hebrews? I don't see you around. I see your people are mainly Christians. I see them as mainly Muslims. I see a lot of Baptists, but where are y'all at? I said we're all over. Even in our confused mind, we're the ones in those churches. We're the ones in those mosques. We're the ones in that confusion. And that's a part of the testimony that we are who we are. That's what Deuteronomy 28 said would happen if we stepped away from the laws of the Most High. So that is not an evidence of us not being the people. That's an evidence of us being the people. So whereas you use it as something, ammunition against us, we know it's our confirmation that we are who we say we are. We are the chosen people of the Most High. Nobody can be in this confusion and this division and be so gifted and be so rich and be so endowed and still be suffering the atrocities that we suffer if it had not been that the Most High has an issue with us. The Most High said in the prophecy, when all these things have come upon you, it'll be a sign between me and you that we have a problem together. And we got to work this out. You know, sometimes you're in a relationship, a personal relationship, and little funny things start happening out of the pattern of the relationship, and you begin to say, wait, what's wrong? You say, oh, nothing wrong. And you say, well, you know, you're acting different. Those little signs are to get your attention that something is wrong. And it's up to you to examine to get to the source of what's wrong. And somewhere in that examination, you'll get to the point and say, oh, okay, I'm sorry. I got you right now. I'm very sorry for what I did. I missed it in my mind. Or even if you did it in your intention, you better come up with an apology and asking for a pardon that we can go forward. And that's the season that we're in. And we're so blessed that the Most High has given us a season that we can approach Him and that we can ask for a pardon. And He only asks us for a confession. To come before me and say that I have wronged. I'm not worthy to stand before you. I can't stand before your judgment. I can't stand before your justice. But I can beg for your mercy. You are our Abba. And as Rabbi said earlier, we come before Him, Almighty King, O Majestic One, Lord of all worlds, Master of all souls. Adon Kol Olamim, Adon Kol Hanei Shemot. But nothing is more powerful than Abba. Nothing is more powerful than calling on your Father and asking for Him to forgive you. Calling on your Father to say, have mercy upon me, I wronged you. I know you'll give me instruction. I know you've given me words of enlightenment. I know you've given me wisdom. And in my foolishness, I abandon it. And I've gone astray, but I want to come home. I want to do the right thing. And we, Israel, have to say we want to come home. We want to do the right thing. And so in this season that we say Hashuvah, Teshuvah, the whole thing is we want to return. Not just in words of mouth, not just in the gifts of our hand, but by rending our heart and letting our heart be available for the Most High to inscribe His law on that heart and to inscribe His ways on that. So we know that in Ghana, Ghana happens to be a very special place. I remind Ghanaians that Ghana is an idea that is in the making. The visionary for Ghana, Asajifo, Kwame Nkrumah, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, was a man that took a vision from here, mingling with our people here. He went to school at Lincoln University. He mingled with our people here, been in the diaspora for 17 good years. He got his light lit here in the United States amongst our people. His greatest inspiration was the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. And we all know how influential our community was as the foundation and cornerstone in the UNIA. And that influence he took back to Ghana. And he took it back to Ghana to what was then the Gold Coast. And he took that ancient name Ghana and tagged it that people would know that we're not named after a piece of metal in the ground. The Europeans in 1884, when they set the Berlin Conference, they end up renaming all of Africa, as well as Africans. So as we was renamed Negroes and black folks and colored folks and all other kind of names outside of our character, they renamed the whole continent of Africa. They called the whole people in the Gold Coast. They annihilated the fact that there were people there that had a pedigree, the people there that traced themselves back to ancient Israel, back to ancient Egypt. That's what the indigenous people trace themselves back to. If you speak to the God people in Ghana, they will say they are the Israelites. If you speak to the Ewe people, the Igbo, they will say they're the Hebrews. You speak to the Ashanti, you speak to any member of the Akan race. You go to Nigeria, you speak to the Igbo. They got the Igbo there. They got different people. I saw it when I came here. I saw the big cultural center there. I said, well, those are the Hebrews, they're the Igbo. They celebrate that in Ghana. They got in Nigeria. They got congregations all over Nigeria. Keeping today, Yom Kippur, they're keeping it in Nigeria. So when you erase all that identity and you just say these are Negroes, or you take one territory, this is the Gold Coast, because you're looking for gold. You take another one and say this is the Ivory Coast, because you're looking for ivory. The most insidious thing that I read is that Cameroon. Yes. The name of Cameroon. Cameroon is a Portuguese name for shrimp. Because there was a European explorer trying to get rich, ran across one of the lakes there, and there's so many shrimp there, he decided to name that lake Cameroon, shrimp. They named the whole country after shrimp. So can you imagine a whole people being renamed shrimp? We're upset with Negro. We're upset with colored folks. They didn't name the whole territory Cameroon. So we look up a nation called Cameroon and don't understand that they're out of their term. But the Most High, and this year, and this time, and this season, and I don't mean the year of January to December 31st. I say year in terms of cycle, in terms of the season that we're in, that the Most High is calling his people back. As we all know, we were called back into our proper mind. So the Most High is doing that. And in doing that, I give thanks and praise that we have a presence in that. And I thank you for all of your support. I thank you for your prayers. Because there's no way that I could have been now. I calculate this year is actually 25 years since I left New York in this season. When I left New York to go to Ghana, it was on Shemini Atzeret. I actually left the Dima to catch my plane on the last day of celebrating the Holy Day. So this season that I've returned is exactly 25 years, 1994. So the Most High has been good in keeping me. And it could not happen without your prayers. It could not happen without me knowing I got a community and a foundation of people that are over here that are living out the legacy so that my reference doesn't seem strange. So I say Toda Adonai for all of us as a family because we're connected. I am you over there and you are me over here and we are one people together under the Most High. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate you opening up your arms, opening up your hearts, and giving me this space to come and share this holy day, this most sacred and holy day of our year here with you. And that's sacred and that's dear to me. So Toda Rabbah, Toda Rabbah, Toda Rabbah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Part of the traditions that I've gone there, when I first went, I wanted to trace down so many of the traditions of the indigenous people's culture on the ground before colonialism changed them up. Trying to find out all of the traditional Hebrew culture, tradition, and rituals that we read about in the Hebrews of West Africa and all those different books. I wanted to go on the ground and study that. And there's so many parallels that are there, almost to the letter, outside of the colonial influences. And one thing I want to say upon my asking for permission to exit is that when you're invited to someone's home in Ghana, everybody has to greet you. The whole family. They serve you water, and then they ask you your mission. And that mission is predicated upon if you have someone chasing you, and someone is pursuing you, or if you're in trouble, they feel that the Most High sent you to their house, so it's their job to protect you, because you haven't come to their house by accident, but it's been by divine reason. And so likewise, when you want to leave that house, you have to ask permission. So you can't just say, I have to go now, my time is running up. You have to say, since you have hosted me, I have to ask permission for you to be able to excuse me from your presence, so I still walk with your blessing and I haven't offended you. So I said that to say, I'm asking your permission.
When I got back from Ghana, I wrote a report about my stay and pictures and video, and the college approved it immediately. I'm going to be back in June.
Oh, excellent.
Please be seated. At this time, I want to also give you a brief report that Raphael is going to be okay. She was feeling a little ill even from this morning, and we want to take precautions. And so in the interest of being safe, we want her to be checked out to make that she is fine, and then that she gets the proper rest that she needs. I told her last night that at 84 and diabetic, you do not have to fast. And make sure you get your water, make sure you're taking your insulin, and that you are eating so that your sugar does not go low. Remember this is symbolic, but you never wanted to take, and then other people, even if you're not that old, if you have medications that you need to take, you always have to monitor your health. Most important thing always is having enough water before and during your fast. For those who are able, you can continue, and those who are not, then we want you to take the proper precautions and get the rest that you need. But at this time, we are going to say the prayer for all of those who are sick or ill on this holy day. And then immediately following that, we will have the Yiska prayers as we remember those who have passed on. Normally this would put us behind time and cut into our meal hour. But since we are having a feast, then that's okay. Matter of fact, by staying in prayer, it will keep your mind off of the food. So it's good that we do this, so we don't think about the delicious meal that we had at the river with all the rice and watermelon and chicken and fish and all of that. So we don't even want to think about that. So we don't want to think about the matzo ball soup that is coming through the floor, but the children will be able to have that. We don't want to think about the kuku and codfish or sukkot. We're not going to think about any of that. So, but we are going to say prayer. We have the list for today, I think so. For those who are sick and ill today, and then the prayer for the Yisrael who passed on.